today on That's a Good Question.
That's a good
Myself,
question.
DeMarco, we have Stefan Ringer,
What's going on?
the one and only. And today we have the great Ellex.
It's Ellex
Ellex
Swavoni.
Swavoni.
Ooh.
And we have a question about that too, because the name is fire as
Yes.
hell.
Okay.
So, and I always mispronounce it. It's Ellex.
It's like
Ellex.
Alex with an E.
Alex with an E. So Ellex Swavoni. I've been following her for I want to say over 3 years.
Yeah, was it like 2018?
Yeah. So for a minute. And we're just talking earlier about how I had the honor to spin at Peter Street Station for the first time due to her exhibition. And I think that's the first time we met in person.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The first time we met in person. And I got to go back to Peter Street Station because of that and spin at a Sip and Paint where I actually got an original Maya Bailey piece that he did specifically for that show based off of the music that I spun. He made the piece and I have it still
big.
to the that shit is
That's
crazy.
big.
I still have it. So let's go back to the start. How did Swavoni, how did the name come about?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's what I want to know. How you get that name? 'Cause
Yeah.
It's fly.
It's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it as much as possible. Like, I used to be really into graffiti, and like a name is hella important in graffiti.
Ooh.
So I spent a long time trying to figure out what the fuck my name would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ellex was something that my real name is Alexis.
Gotcha.
Ellex Swavoni is not my real name.
Okay.
My real name is Alexis Crawford. It's my birth name. Milk toast ass name. I do not own the name Alexis Crawford. So
Sounds like a lawyer.
I know,
It sounds
right?
very professional.
It does. Like, it's very like resume. Like, like, I can get a job, head ass.
Yeah.
So, Ellex, I just wanted to kind of like twist Alexis around. It's not a whole lot to do with that name, except for like what I learned in college in marketing class was like it was important that you had a name that transcended cultures. So like one of the examples was like Chevy Nova did terribly in South America because Nova means no go in Spanish.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I gotta have a name like that multiple cultures mean something good. And when you break down Ellex, it's like either the like law or like elevated law or something, because Lex means law in Latin. So like any Latin based
Language.
Country.
it's gonna kind of mean like something law. And then like L is always gonna like mean something like elevated or just the or something blank.
Yeah.
So okay, that name is safe. Now Swavoni was like because I'm a taller woman, I think like chicks be like hella hitting on me like early in the day.
Yeah.
And like chicks would like be like, "You're so like suave and cool and shit like this." Like suave. I kind of like that. Like I'm about to like twist it around and make it feminine. So I was like, I'm gonna be Swavoni.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fire. Cause I don't think I ever asked. Like it's so fitting that I assumed that it was actually your name. Like I thought that was actually your name. I'm like, yo, the whole personality and persona of this woman, it fits so much. Being an artist, like actually a multi-talented artist, multimedia artist. Damn, that shit, it fit. And then he was extremely curious because he's like, yo, this name is really, really dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, and speaking of the beginning, was music first or was visual arts first?
That's a good question. I think visual arts in general was first because I always was interested in sculpture since I was about like 7. And like when I was really, really little, like we were kind of poor. So like the only way that I was going to be able to entertain myself outside of just like whatever video game that I could afford, like or like book or movie was my mom would buy me like craft sets when I was like in preschool and shit. I would be making like little bracelets and stuff. So like if it wasn't a coloring book or a bracelet or some type of little play set, I was, just watching one movie over and over and over again.
Got you.
So I think art was first, but when I got around like fifth grade, it was like music because like I met somebody in my elementary. It was fifth grade.
Mm.
In fifth with Barry Windet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in fifth grade that I met this guy named Tyree, and he showed me like hip hop, like the culture of hip hop, and I was like, it's just fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started like writing music with him, and then it kind of like transcended from there, and I continued to do it. I still even do it now. I guess I'm like very low key about it.
Yeah. Trust me, I've been following long enough to where I'm like, nah, we're gonna touch on this music thing because I know people aren't expecting that to be the highlight, but like this shit is dope.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I write with a crew called Down to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a guy named Malachi and a guy named Pinky.
Mm-hmm.
Pinky's out of Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. He's an incredible guitarist. He played on the original cut of "Don't" Bryson Tiller.
Oh wow!
In the video and everything.
Yeah.
He played on that. He's cool with like he actually was on a label that they self-created. You know Nemo Achata? He's the A&R for Private Garden and creative director for Private Garden. It's like Jack Harlow's joint.
Yeah.
It's like if you've seen like most of the videos of bald-headed
he's in there.
He's in there. It's Nemo.
Damn.
And like they're like brothers.
Yeah.
And they were with in this group called Hoodstock a while back in Kentucky. So like he's super talented as well, great rapper. And then this guy named Malachi, incredible pianist and producer. He's living in New York and Brooklyn. So like when I go to Brooklyn, that's who I'm going with.
Yeah.
And he's working with like people like Mars out of Louisville as a new artist. She's on RCA, I think, and she's been co-signed by like Timbaland. And then like Yebba, you know Yebba Smith, Abby Smith.
Most of these I have to see. I listen to so much. I listen to a shit ton of music.
I bet you did. She's incredible though. And then what about Lucky Day?
That I have heard. Yeah.
Okay, so like that whole crew, like he works with them. Like he's super talented. There's a lot of Charles is talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got a whole house like this kind of.
Yeah. Just in-house full of talent.
Yeah, in the basement's a whole studio, and they just go at it.
That's beautiful, man. That's what we're hoping to create here. Is pretty much the same
like
thing.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's an honor to even hear that. That's cool as hell. And speaking of Kentucky, that's where you're from, right?
That's where I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky.
That's crazy. And you made your journey to Atlanta when?
2016. But the funny thing though is there's always kind of been like a small like thread because my family originally is from like my grandmother set her roots in Louisville, Kentucky, but she's originally from Alabama and moved and grew up in Columbus, Georgia.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a whole lot of family in Columbus, Georgia, and we moved to. She moved to Louisville with her husband and like started a family there, and then, so like there's always been like a cross pollination between the two families between Georgia and Louisville.
Okay.
So it was a natural thing for my grandmother, who is the reason why we're back in Georgia now, to want to come back to where she's from.
And is there the music scenes in between the two? What do you feel the biggest difference is, or the commonality?
Oh man, I think.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I feel like some amazing music come from where you talking about St. Louis, like just that pocket of the United States. And I feel like you really got to know music to find it, unless it pops up out of and peeps his head out. But I feel like a lot of good music comes from that area.
I will say this about Atlanta in Louisville in juxtaposition. Something that exists in Atlanta that doesn't exist anywhere else is incredible feeling. They got feeling here that you can't even reproduce. You can reproduce it, but like they're able to find feeling in like what they call like, I guess, what they're doing with trap music. I hate that word. Like, there's vibes that they are able to cultivate that bleed out and find its way into different communities. But what Louisville got lyrics. Like one of the coldest writers of all time, like Static Major, came
Oh
from
wow,
Kentucky.
yeah,
We
man,
got words in this bitch.
yeah,
And that's power.
yeah,
Power. And like we got like Bryson Tiller is an incredible storyteller.
mm,
Like Mars, who's coming up right now, great, like diary-esque, like beautiful at expressing her feelings. Like
mm,
even the rappers, amazing at expressing what's going on. Like Jack Harlow can really fucking rap.
yeah. He actually can. He's a good writer.
Yeah,
I don't listen to much of his music because the sound,
yeah,
which is what Atlanta has, which is what you're talking about, the
Yeah.
feeling, that piece. Atlanta has done a number on. I mean, we've been running for
Yeah.
over 15 years now.
But the thing about Jack, though, I don't
Yeah.
want to spend too much time on Jack. Like,
Yeah.
We talk about Jack a whole lot, but like
Yeah.
Jack, there's a guy down here named KY Finest. You know KY Finest?
Mm-mm.
KY Finest has been an engineer down here for a grip. He's engineered for Lil Wayne for a long time. Like he was like Lil Wayne's go-to engineer.
Mhm.
He engineered for he's 2 Chainz engineer.
Mm.
He engineers for Sci-Hi the Prince, I think, and for somebody else, I forget. And he's Jack's engineer. He got Jack down here and cultivated and got him and Jack in connection with DJ Drama, which is why his sound it was
Is
gonna
the-
be Atlanta no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah, of course,
But I
yeah.
think it's like even heavier because
Of the
that he's down here.
yeah, the comrades he's
And
around.
also Kentucky got some influence on Atlanta because KY Finest.
Hey, speaking loud and clear, man.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely take from a lot of places, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, we have across from me one of the greatest DJs. We're now getting into house, more techno, more EDM, more of that feeling is now transferring over from hip hop and from rap. I feel like, and it's going over into and bleeding into different genres. So, I know Stefan had a question about the futurism and
Okay.
what your art speaks to as a whole.
Yeah,
So.
basically, what does Black futurism mean to you, or what is it to you? Could you describe it using the 5 senses?
The 5 senses? Okay. What is Black futurism using the 5 senses? So basically, just you're asking me is like, how does your perception of the world around you change as a direct correlation between Black futurism, right? I guess complicated that so I can answer it easy.
I
That's
feel
a
like
good
you have
way
a
to-
great grasp of the question right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay, so if I word it that way, I think that Black futurism is more simple of a concept than people make it out to be. Like, it's radical because it's organic in a space where you're not allowed to be as organic as you are. Like, so it's revolutionary because it operates outside the confines of what supremacy would put around you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, if I'm being my complete natural self and I'm starting over, so basically, if I say it the way that I've arrived at Afrofuturism, I rejected spirituality the way that it was coming to me as a Southern, Black child. I didn't like it. I was like, this is whack. This is not who I want to be. It's not even like a 6-year-old. Like, I'm being indoctrinated. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
I'll
tell.
bet.
And
Yeah.
so like when I got the internet, I was like, I'm gonna find God on my own. And so I went looking. I found Dogon. I found Egyptian mythology. I found Yoruba. I found so many different cultures across the world that had a different name in relationship to God. And knowing that those cultures existed and how they perceive the world and how their perceptions about each other changes around how they saw God and how they expressed the God in their culture made me like look at my world differently. So like standing in the future, looking at the past and applying past principles to the present changes the future. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I arrived at Afrofuturism. It's just about like I'm going to skip over what you're giving me right now, go back to the past, and come and then apply the past principles to this present, and I'm gonna create a new future.
That's it.
Wow.
I feel that right there. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Shit. And I mean, we've seen that play out in your art, man. And it's you definitely making it very, very tangible. And I think that's the enjoyable part for me is I enjoy witnessing greatness, and I love watching people, I mean, essentially do alchemy. Like, that's what I feel like it is when I watch you do this shit.
Thank you.
And just starting from idea to, like,
Manifestation.
yeah, like it's really a thing, you know, and then having the world play around with it, you know, and morph around it has always been interesting to me. So we went from this 6-year-old who's like, nah, fuck that, I want to do this my own way, to you know, getting into music and art as you grew up. And then when did it really start to make sense and like click? Like around what
Music.
time? Art in general,
Art
or
in
just
general.
yeah, what you're doing now, like you're
Okay.
how you're going crazy right now. When did that make sense for you? Like when did that line
In
up?
2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. So I met you.
Right when it was starting to, because okay, like I think some people. I'll say this. I've met people who tell me that they just become an artist in their adult years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been participating with materials and making my entertainment with making art. Like it's been like how I function as a human being. Like I don't have shit else to do in here.
Yeah.
That's it for real.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So
yeah.
like it was just gonna be something I was gonna always do because it made me feel good to like have something to do.
Yeah.
So I never considered. I went to school for graphic design. I was working in graphic design. I hated it. And I just always made things. So when the opportunity came for me to show something, I was like, I got some shit.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that, you know, people responded well. I mean, before, you know, that initial show, the Hundo show with Freaky Dead artists and Artlanta, the only show that I did beforehand was like, you know, my senior show in college. They make you do one because I had a
get out,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I had to do that because I was required to.
Yeah.
And I had sculpture because I always make sculpture. I guess I always did it 'cause
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And even then, I should have known because I sold like half of that.
Wow. And this was just from a college assignment.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I mean,
But you really went there for graphic design.
I really went there for graphic design. So it was a creative field. I was going to operate in a creative field no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like making the art that I wanted to make, I wasn't sure that was what I was supposed to do. I just knew that I was going to always do it because
Yeah.
I needed to do it.
That's crazy. So this is, I mean, at this point, it's an extension of you. It really is you pouring yourself into this art.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2018, that's crazy. I didn't know that's when the whole shit turned.
Like literally, I was apprenticing for Eugene Bird, Bird at Fort Mac Future Dead Artists Gallery, and he said, "We're gonna do a show. You got something?" I was like, "Yeah."
I guess.
And he showed me how to like properly set it up to hang it, and then it sold out. I mean,
Wow.
it's wild. People responded. It's nuts.
Talk about divinity, man. So, and I mean, I remember that being the same case for the show that we did, the show that I spun at. Like people really respond. Yeah, like
half of that
people
went to-
really responded well to that shit.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful to see. I think Big Crit came out.
Mm-hmm.
Maya was there, so
Sure.
it was really cool to see how that shit
Joy,
just.
Joy, like the singer.
Mm.
She's like, I think it's Gibbs, baby mama. Like,
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Biggie from.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Joy?
no, I didn't.
Yeah, Joy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she has like really beautiful long blonde dreads.
No, I haven't seen. I have to look. Honestly, I really have to. If I look at them, I'll probably already follow them on Instagram. Probably do listen to their music,
Yeah.
but I listen to
He's the
so
guy
much
who's
shit.
The gigabytes. Like,
Yeah.
Terror,
Man, I listen to so much shit. I don't know nobody by name at this point, other than if you in front of me. But she came to the show
Yeah,
too.
and that was crazy. I didn't even know who she was until like Mike was like, "You know who that was?" I was like, "No."
That's the thing. I mean, I feel like Atlanta is just that way. Like people come here to be regular. Like people come here to feel normal, bro. Like it's not a New York. It's not a LA. It's like people just come here. You can be semi-famous if you used to go to Lenox Mall. Not right now. Lenox a whole nother thing right now. But before, you go to Lenox Mall, you may have some little entourage, a little crowd. But for the most part,
You can go to Publix and be normal.
yeah, you be a regular person, So, damn, okay, so it's 2018, everything kick off, and that's when it's a go. Is that, after that, is that when, because I know you were even playing around with 3D art at a point, like
The
3D
renders?
printing, and rendering.
Okay, yeah. I was what the hell was I doing with those renders? Oh yeah, okay, so I started working at a space called this thing called maker stations.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know about them. A maker station is a place where people go to make shit.
Yeah.
And they have all the tools and a huge community of people who just be making shit.
Yeah.
And it stretches from like textile to technology to computers to people working with liquid nitrogen to super cool computers to make stuff go super fast. Like
Yeah. Just
wood
straight
shops.
science shit.
It's like science and engineering and just all shit like that. So like I went there and I learned so much, and I learned how to use a program called Fusion 360, and I'm learning how to use Blender now. And I was trying to I want to make furniture so bad.
Me too. Man,
Oh
me
my
too.
God, like,
Me
so
too.
bad.
I just want to manipulate space as much as like
That's
I do.
classy, though.
Yeah.
Well, you
That's
said
classy.
It's classy.
Yeah.
Furniture. I mean, you can use it. You can make it look how you want.
Yeah.
I think it's a sexy thing. You have
It
some
is.
sexy furniture.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is. And just like even my heroes, like talking about like music, the people that I respect most in music, not only for just like making really dope music, are people who also make things. And they always
Really great artists.
Yeah, like Pharrell, like
Yeah.
Kanye, like
yeah.
even like ASAP Rocky's trying to like nudge
Yeah.
into that space and like
Yeah.
make stuff.
Yeah.
I respect those people. People like Rihanna who's making stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the bag is even bigger now when they've actually created shit other than music, which is the
Right.
crazy part.
Right. Yeah.
But do you,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
My
sorry to
bad.
cut you off. But do you feel like people start to want to make stuff when they realize they have an audience that will buy it? But like yourself, you make it just because that's what you do.
Right. That's true. I think that like in terms of like music, I think that for example, somebody like Travis Scott. Travis Scott is good at making music, but he's so goddamn famous that he can sell anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Socks.
Products just jump off
Like,
the
He can sell
shelves.
socks, he can sell
Mothballs.
buttons,
Yeah.
stickers, cheeseburgers,
The nigga
Sticky
sold
notes.
cereal.
sticky notes, cereal,
He sold cereal.
a color,
Yeah.
a color,
A
Cactus
brown.
Jack brown.
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes brown.
Yeah. I mean, it's just now become a thing because we're
Yeah.
kind of rotating back into like in between 70s to 90s.
Yes.
But I mean, that's just branding. Like Porsche has their own set of
Ooh.
colors.
That's a good question right there. Is it really making some, or is it just branding?
I think like it's a hard question. It depends on the relationship the artist has with whatever product it is.
That's what it is.
Because
That's
like
exactly
somebody
right.
like Pharrell Williams, for example, like with like Human Race Cosmetics, I use it. This shit good. I haven't had it. And I knew that I could trust it because I know that he's not going to let us, because people have been saying such great things about his skin,
Yeah.
and that he cares about his skin, that he's not going to put out something that's going to fuck us over.
Yeah.
Just because he knows that we will buy it.
Yeah.
So there's a trust relationship with him because I know his relationship to facial products. I don't know if you know, Travis Scott really be eating cheese.
Yeah,
I feel like they're too rich to be pulling up in the
McDonald's
parking lot.
I mean, I feel like he is that nigga that will probably still at 5 after a show, 5 a.m.
Go get some
That's the only thing open that we
Right.
got to run to. But, and I mean, he also is in that vein of a Pharrell and a Kanye, to where he really does enjoy creating shit. He's still a big ass kid
For
at the
sure,
end of
for
the
sure.
day. And Tyler is the same way.
Oh, for sure. Tyler the Creator is amazing.
But we've seen people who
Just
we
be-
know it's just a product grab. You know,
Yeah.
like we know you just putting your name on this shit. Like Kanye said, what the fuck does Gaga know about cameras? Like
Right.
we've never seen her shoot anything. We've never
No.
seen her around the camera. But she's working with Kodak. Like it's certain shit that just don't fit. But
Lady Gaga got Oreos.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
that's great. I've
Oreos.
never seen that shit. That's crazy.
She got head ass Oreos.
And I mean that's the thing. You know who does it well. We also have history of what Pharrell has done with products.
Yeah.
We know how passionate he's gotten about Billionaire Boys Club,
Yeah.
about, you know, ice cream, about, you know, the shit that Nigo's doing, and finding these people who create great shit, and they just create it just because. So we have that back catalog, and we also have something that they're currently doing that's still upholding that integrity of their brands at the same time. So
And I think also the thing about Pharrell that's so valuable in Kanye is he appreciates shit. Like it's not just like
Buy my shit.
yeah,
it's not just like by myself. It's like, oh my god, Takashi Murakami cause. Oh my god, like Hermes is the best brand. Like look at this scarf. Look at this
Yeah.
bag by Birkin. Look at this bag by, you know, his alignment with people who are artisans, who are craftspeople, and knowing stuff about history. Like you can just trust him because he has taste, because he enters it into his life. It's not something that he's just consuming and throwing it out to you for you to buy
man.
too.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Is he's really caring. Like Drake, I love Drake. Drake is cool. Drake buys. He's talking about Murakami's in the hallway. I'm not sure how much Drake really likes art.
Yeah,
I don't know if how much I really believe him that he's
Yeah.
really into art.
yeah.
But
Or
I
if
think-
it's just a nice soundbite.
Yeah, or he just knows that if he spends money on that, it will accrue value.
Yeah,
Like how much
exactly.
do you really know? When you made Hotline Bling, do you really know who James Terrell is?
They didn't, cause I mean James Terrell didn't even know who the fuck they were,
Right.
and people were pointing out like, yo, James, look, they're stealing your idea, and James like, okay, I think somebody reached out from James' team and was trying to sue Drake at some point,
Right.
and James didn't even know who the fuck that was or what the fuck was going on.
Meanwhile, Kanye did Jesus is King. He hires James Terrell.
Oh, it had to.
He talks about him so
Like a
lovingly,
god,
like
man.
he's a
Wow.
god, like he's the greatest living artist. The appreciation is the difference.
Yeah, it's different. And he is definitely one of the best, one of my favorite contemporary artists of all time at this point. Like to manipulate light, and I went to Rice University just to go.
yes.
I went to Rice University just to sit in the monument,
Yeah.
and the way that this man manipulates sound and like structure and build structure specifically with sound design in mind, with lighting in mind. Like the lighting, you don't know where the source even comes from.
No.
Okay.
But you can fill a room with light and not know where it comes from. That's just, it's spectacular as fuck to be inside of it and actually and feel it and see it. It's one thing to look at it on the picture.
Oh my God.
It's different to being in the structure itself.
Not only that, but also knowing that like he's curating the way that light and that color is generated by the way that the sun and the sky are generating light too. Because there's this guy named, you know who Joseph R. Albers is?
Mm.
He's a professor at Stanford,
Mhm.
and he was like a master of color. He did all these studies on color.
Wow,
And
definitely
I've been
Googling
looking
that
into-
later.
I've been looking into him because like I have like a really love-hate relationship with color,
Yeah.
and he has incredible theories about like actual color and factual color and like illusions that happen with color, and like knowing that and seeing how James Terrell is manipulating color and your perception of color in relationship to like the environment, and how like because there's like holes, was there like in the one at Rice, there's like a hole at the top where you can see like the sky.
Yeah.
So like I think there's a relationship between the color of the sky and the way it changes throughout the day.
Yeah, versus
And
what
light
actually is shining. And you
vibes.
basically that shit was wild. It's basically like when you look up at it, because it's two levels. When you look from the bottom level, it's basically just a painting of real life. That's the best way to put it. It's like a skylight, which is what they do with skylights in homes as well.
Yes.
It's just you looking up, but he has the reflection of these lights shining on the ceiling at the same time. That's blending in with the real sky.
Yes.
So it's crazy. As time goes on, as the sun sets, the lights are also changing too.
Yes.
So just to know somebody put, like, that's greatness to me, to be able to put that much time and effort into some shit and execute it that well. And that's why I'm to draw back to you. That's why I'm happy that we get to see you grow into that artist, like grow into that pinnacle of an artist.
And I appreciate that, but I aspire to offer the type of service that James Terrell offers. Like what he's doing when he's creating those environments, that is it's not just public art, that is public service.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way about architects in general.
For sure.
Like just the correlation between, and this is a great segue into that. It's just, the correlation in between how our bodies react to our spaces, and all the science that goes into it. I want to ask you, speaking of being in solitude with ourselves and with our environments, how did you get through 2020? Like, how was 2020? Because I feel like that shit was just so crazy. I really want to know how did we get through that shit?
I love 2020, but also fuck 2020.
Look, duality. It was duality. Like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Because we were talking about this. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah. So there's a film that I was a part of, and it was called 20.
Okay.
And it was from the perspective of a bartender in a speakeasy, serving up drinks and just letting people talk, And that's what everybody had in common. Fuck this shit, but goddamn, I mean,
yeah,
I needed this shit at
yeah.
the same time. So
yeah, it was a great experience.
He was dead ass like that. Like, so, 2020, I was like actually working a job, got laid off, and was like, couldn't get unemployment. So I was like, okay, I gotta grind it out. So I grinded it out. But also, I think one of the best things that 2020 did was it taught me to change my relationship with space. Change my relationship to space, materials, and just like philosophies. When I got back from Miami with Tila,
which we're gonna definitely touch base on that whole experience
for sure,
because that went up.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When I got back from there, I knew that I needed to tighten my art practice. I needed to tighten it philosophically and be incredibly consistent with whatever body of work that I generated next. And so I spent a lot of time just like doing a lot of research. So 2020 allowed me to do a lot of research. It constrained my ability to make sculpture, so I wasn't able to make sculpture. So I started creative frustration. Like I just started pushing colors around and went back to like doing abstract work, which helps me like think. And
same here
for sure. And I realized that like I don't like the way my art practice generates waste. And that was the universe compounded it by like putting me in contact with a guy named Sean Harris II, who is a lecturer at Georgia Tech, and he was doing a class about pulling plastic and trash out of Proctor Creek and changing that into something that's usable and beneficial for the community.
Wow.
Rocker Creek. I was like, okay, universe, you fucking with me right now.
Yeah.
Like, you really trying to give me the information, and like learning what he had to offer in that class, and seeing how those students were processing the information, like really helped me with my art practice. Like, how might I? Because like a phrase he gonna like laugh to be here. It's like, how might I like take waste that's generated in my art practice? How might I take waste that's generated just in my life and just like make it either functional or like minimize that waste? Because like as artists, especially like even if you're like just a painter, like your materials has an effect on the environment. Like if you can't wash acrylic paint down the sink because it's polluting the water source because it's liquid plastic.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of artists don't know that.
Yeah.
It's
Like it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not degradable, so it's gonna end up somewhere.
It's gonna end up in the water and it's gonna poison you. So you like either gotta pour the water out in like kitty litter or like let the water evaporate, or you're gonna be poisoning the water source, water system. And like so when I was in quarantine, I was like doing a bunch of like abstract paintings. And I was like broke kinda, and I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the best parts out of these paintings. I'm gonna break the rest of it down, shred it up, make some collages. And now I have like this whole like series of works on paper where I've generated like it's an original painting. There's like 7 generations down, going down to the point that I've got new paper. I've made new paper from the old paintings.
Wow, that's fire.
Yeah, so like that kind of stuff. Like it made me think more about materials in that way, and like getting rid of a lot of equipment and deciding like, what am I going to do, and only doing that so that my mental space is clear, and I'm not bombarding my space with like art materials and art equipment. It's like, let me streamline everything and be very effective and efficient with like what I have, so I'm not wasting money and time and energy and like impeding upon my mental space with all this shit.
Yeah.
Hey.
You know?
Yeah. Man, snaps to that shit.
Which is
like,
why I'm also not working with like, to the best of my abilities, I'm not trying to work with very much resin anymore because it's like a wasteful product. I'll do it here and there.
Yeah.
It's because of the price point for my collectors. But for myself personally, I don't want to deal with that.
Gotcha. Man, that's fire. And that, I mean, that's also, I don't know, it's the evolution of an artist. But what you gonna say, Stefan?
I think that's something that anybody can carry into what they're doing, because you're sharpening your own skill and then also helping. I mean, yeah, y'all know what it is. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's usable on so many other layers.
Yeah, different platforms.
Exactly.
It's like creative minimalism.
Right,
yeah,
right,
basically.
Right.
But
it forces you to come up with something, and it's not even forcing. It's a happy accident. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
shit! This is fine.
Yeah.
Like,
and you got 7 generations out of that, and showing the life cycle literally.
Yeah.
Of what it is that you're doing. That's damn near a whole nother art form. That's something separate within it. You could create a whole show just off of.
I plan to.
Yeah.
Please do. Please.
I plan for that to be an entire like thing that I do. Like that's my philosophy now. Mostly, it's like I'm gonna make a thing and break that down until it's dust. Like it's gonna have a life.
Backwards though.
Yeah. Talk about alchemy, man. That's what this shit is. It's just straight. That's how I perceive it. That's how I see it, and that's why I love it so much. And just art in general, it's a beautiful fucking thing. And it creates life around us, literally. That's what you're doing is helping the ecosystem essentially in multiple ways. Yeah.
Because like if you think about like a sample, right? Like Funky Drummer, like Impeach the President has a life. Like you can track the generations that it's existed in from the point that it was like drummed to like today.
Yeah, it's a fact.
It's had a life.
Yeah.
That piece of intellectual property has had a life. It's fucking nuts.
That's crazy, and that's why the shit will be around for forever.
Ever.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, and it's definitely amplified right now.
Do you feel like any of your works will be around forever?
I hope. I hope that I make something that's so beneficial for humanity that people protect it.
Hmm.
You know, that's why I like James Turrell so much, and like why I like ancient um, work, ancient statues, ancient symbols, because like what's most crazy about a pyramid is not only that they made it somehow that's beyond our knowledge, but also that it survived.
Yeah.
And that we have it available to research and like look at that and to imagine what lived around it, like how they lived, what was life around this thing, like what does it mean?
Yeah, and it's a stamp to keep teaching generations over and over and over and over
Sure.
again.
Shoot. Some type of roadmap, you know?
Yeah.
Shit that's standing the test of time.
Yeah. I think that's what most artists, most creatives, most people, I think that's what most people want. Not even just creatives in general. I think people want to do something that's so fulfilling that, you know, it does stand the test of time at some point. And people do deem it valuable, which is why we need each other.
Sure.
But going into that, you mentioned Tilla Studios.
Yeah.
That experience, how was that experience for you? I know that was what, a year?
Nah, it's like it's 2019.
Yeah.
So it's almost like 2 years. Where is time? Time just does what it wants to.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
does. Especially when you
Doing
zoning in. Yeah, when you honing in on your craft and you really in it.
aligned.
You don't have time to even look up before you know it. You really have arrived. That's the crazy shit.
I got a lot of work to do. That. I got a whole lot of work to do.
Yeah. And I asked that because I want to segue into, because I want to, again, I know hopefully this is educational for people, but I wanted to, you know, be educational for artists and let artists know, like, there are opportunities out there, and there are different ways that you can go about getting your art money. At the end of the day, in order for us to change shit, we still need money, we still need currency, we still need the tool that allows us to fuel what it is that we're doing.
For sure.
And you just mentioned the creative space where they allow you to just come in and make shit that
Right.
a lot of people don't even know about. That could be a start for you to start that journey.
For sure.
So how do you as an artist go about finding creative ways of not only monetizing your work, but also growing as an artist, growing as a brand, finding studios like Tilla and doing work like that and going to Miami and Art Basel and all of that stuff? Like, how do you jump into that?
Okay, so like there's two parts to that question. Like, how do I find opportunities and how do I like stay vigilant in like working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I don't consume any media that's not going to help me as an artist.
Mm.
That sounds kind of crazy.
Nah, it does not.
That's
'cause
extreme discipline, man.
It
Because
is.
media is constantly thrown at us, and
Mhm.
that's honorable.
That's
It
facts.
is.
That I'm pretty sure I mess it up, but like even when I choose like movies to watch, I'm not just like watching that movie for the sake of like enjoyment, which is terrible. But I'm like picking it apart, like okay, how they use colors like this,
Yeah.
like okay, they use this symbolism to communicate this idea about this character, blah 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 blah. So
Mhm.
like I'm looking at the world around me through the lens of an artist. I'm trying to like dissect what is working, you know.
Mhm.
And then like I spend a lot of time on like YouTube, like Stanford, Yale, Harvard, all the art schools have free lectures on YouTube, free classes on YouTube. Like you can just be on YouTube all day,
Yeah. Just studying.
just studying. And
Yeah.
so like there's interviews from all these different artists. I learn, you know, like I'm gonna learn about some colors, and I found like Joseph Albers, and I'm going to understand colors. So help me God.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get a color aid box, and I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Even by myself. And So I just stay diligent like that. Like I'm gonna keep working because I want to be so cold at what I do, that the only way for me to do that is to continue to push myself and learn new things and get better. Opportunity wise, there's a couple ways as an artist you can find opportunities. I think one of the best things about Atlanta is that it's full of entrepreneurs that are always pushing to help each other create platforms for each other. Like Tila was a platform that she created for the specific purpose of helping Black women artists. And because I'm a Black woman artist, I'm gonna find out about it.
Yeah, and we're talking about Tiffany Latrice.
Tiffany Latrice, yeah, I'm gonna find out about it.
Yeah.
And so I found out about her, and like, you know, it's funny if you don't go to art school. Even if you do go to art school, there isn't like a very set map of like how do you win as an artist. Like even artists who graduate college from like Pratt don't get to win. Like you still have different ways, back doors, whatever you can do to kind of be successful.
Yeah.
But I think the structure, just having access to just be in proximity to something like Tila and them, you know, showing like, oh, you need to have these documents, you need to have a good artist statement, a good bio, you need to be able to, you know, communicate to your collectors this way, blah blah blah. That structuring helps a whole lot, and I'm glad that I was able to, you know, come in contact with that and learn those things, and that they were, you know, that Tiffany's has the foresight to be able to put something like that together because, you know, it's needed. And I think it's needed for more people, just than Black women for sure, just artists in general, but specifically because Black women are overlooked in the arts community. She needed to create this specific platform for Black women artists. So I found it, I applied, and, you know, I was lucky enough to be of the women who went to Miami to participate in Prism Art Fair. And it was a really dope experience. It was hectic as hell. It was so hectic. Like, as soon as we hit the runway, like not the runway. As soon as we hit the Airbnb, it was like, okay, put your bags down. We're going to work. We're going to work. We're going to the radio station. We went to the radio station, like right off the plane. Like eat something, get your ass on the bus. We going to the radio station. Yeah. Like work. Boom, boom, boom. We was working like we were on like a rap tour. Like a rap tour. Like we was on like we was releasing the album. You know?
Wow.
It was like we have to go to Hot 97, then we gonna go to Breakfast Club, and then we gonna go to this, we gonna go to that, we gonna show up over there. And so like we was tired, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a rapper. I don't know if I want to be a rapper, but, you know, sometimes you gotta like. But even though it was exhausting, it was tight. Yeah. It was hella tight.
Yeah. I feel like that will be something that will carry into the future because we will have artists, physical artists, you know, performing artists, visual artists, contemporary architects. Those people I want to see on the Breakfast Club. I want to see a Hot 97. I want to see the fiber of art and the foundation of art take the forefront of a lot of this shit.
I think in any way, though, like not just on these legacy platforms, you know, but in any platform, you know what I mean, that can broadcast to that many people. I feel like there's going to be a change in all of that as well. Like,
it don't take a lot of education though, because I think that like in general, you know how like I said before, like Kanye appreciates shit. Like not like everybody doesn't know how to appreciate things. You know what I mean? It's like a
unless it's the stunt on somebody.
Like I'm gonna buy some whatever to just to be flashy, but like to really absorb like the full capacity of like why something was made, how it was made, what influences go into it. Like to really be passionate about appreciating something takes a lot of effort. So I understand why people don't do it. But like that's what it's gonna take for people to
get to that point.
for it to be on every media platform.
It's true.
But that's why I wanted to be on. That's why I mentioned those specifically, because I feel like, for one, us as a culture, and by us I mean black people, we pretty much push all of this shit forward.
Oh yeah.
And the only way for us to even get to that point of pushing certain things forward is to make it cool. And those are the platforms that get it to that point.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why does your favorite rapper like this car?
Yeah.
Some of them may like it to be flashy, but for the most part, it caught their eye for a reason. There's a science behind why it caught their eye.
Right.
Not just a financial gain, but there's a reason why you can get financial gain from this car and
Right.
from this brand, from this piece of art, from this furniture. There's a whole back catalog and history.
Yes.
And then behind the history, there's a whole science that went into creating this shit.
Yep.
That's the part that I want to be cool. That's the part that I want more artists to talk about. You know, and there are certain artists that do it, like a Kanye and like a Pharrell.
Yeah.
And that's why their legacies have lived on this long, and that's why
Right.
they're so strong. I feel like even 20 to 30 years after Pharrell is gone,
Mhm.
after Kanye is gone, after Nego is gone,
You got Tyler.
yeah, you still got them kids that have been behind there that's still gonna be preaching the same shit, still have, you know, their roots of their style and the way that they choose a house, the colors that they wear, that's still deep rooted in something. And then shit, Tyler's already created a whole ecosystem of fucking fans of his own
Yeah.
that now are gonna carry that even further. So I don't know, man. I feel like the ones who really own it and who really understand it, we're gonna get to that point to where we can't have a James Terrell
Yeah.
on a fucking Breakfast Club, and it's like I want to see that shit happen. Like I want to
think-
see some cool shit like that.
I think Virgil is doing a lot for that.
Hmm.
think
I feel like he
Virgil-
will be he's a good gateway for that.
for sure.
I agree.
I think that, you know, especially with these last two shows that he's done,
Yeah,
I think he done really dug into a part of himself he found it.
yeah,
He found it again. You know,
Yeah.
he had it. I think he found it again. Like, he's on to something.
yeah,
Delicious.
yeah. I think he's a good gateway for it. So-
Appreciation.
Yeah, the Miami in Detail.
Okay.
How did that actual show go? Like, how do you feel about it as a whole? Like, it was pretty
went,
fire.
It went okay. You know, I didn't sell anything, but I met some people. And some
Mhm.
people came into contact with my work that are very surprising people. Like a curator named Paige who came in contact with like Atlantis Rising.
Mhm.
Not Atlantis Rising. What I'm saying, Call Your Ancestors #5. The tall tower, like black gold joint.
Mhm.
And she was like, you know, enamored by it and wanted to speak about it. And knowing that, like, holy crap, I can talk to a curator from the Tate. That can happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know that could happen.
Wow.
And so, like, that experience alone was like, okay, worth $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I can talk to a curator from
One of the top galleries in the world.
what?
Yeah. I mean, that at this point, I think that's what 2020 definitely taught me was that. So, well, pretty much all of my life has been about social currency
Yeah.
and like just showing up for people and seeing how, and specific people, like very great, just good at what the fuck they do types of people, you know. So I think that's worth anything. That is, you can't put a price on no shit like that, you know. So although you didn't sell anything, that was it.
yourself.
Yeah.
But
Like,
yeah, all the value, like there's a photo. I wasn't there, but there's a photo of like the Miami like arts board. They took a picture beside Call Your Ancestors. I was like,
wow.
okay, okay.
Next
So-
level shit.
Stuff can happen, you know. And I think that like just coming into contact that things can happen is enough to just like, okay, if things can happen, maybe I if I work harder and I get myself in the position where those things can actually manifest, then they will happen, you know. And I can provide, you know, whatever it is that the universe wants me to provide in those moments when I'm ready.
Wow. Shit, man.
This is real, man.
Yeah. I'm loving this shit so far. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We definitely gonna keep this shit going as you keep growing, as you keep progressing. Stefan, I know you had one more question or two more questions.
I think we answered both of my questions. Yeah, man. I've just been enjoying listening to you and just y'all bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
Cause I remember seeing one of your pieces like downtown in that park area.
Woodruff.
Yes, exactly. And I remember it, and it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just so short for words right now, but I'm enjoying everything right now.
Yeah, I think that's the point, you know, is to make it memorable. And I went to the one at Goat Farm.
Yeah.
I went to that one, and I posted it on Twitter, and that shit got reaction almost instantly. Damn. So people are noticing, people are seeing what the fuck is going on. I'm happy for you. If you could describe your art style, if you could put a music genre to it, what do you think it would be? What would you call it? If it doesn't exist, what would you call it? If it does exist, what forms would they be?
I would call it like some type of iteration of like fusion, like cyber fusion. Like Roy Ayers, like if Roy Ayers, Africa Bambaataa, and Kanye, and like Daft Punk collaborated, it'd be something like that.
That's crazy, because I was thinking Daft Punk. I knew Daft Punk was gonna have to pop up in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because of their roots are also very black.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the samples that they use, all that shit is very much so us. And yeah, that's a good mixture. I was thinking something along those lines. So that's good. Is there, if you were to take all your work away, you know, you only had one piece to leave people right now as your legacy, which piece would it be? Do you know offhand? Is it something you're either working on now or something you already worked on?
If it has to be right now, I would want it to be Call Your Ancestors number 5. The Tower, because I think that is a very important story to tell. Like, I think Atlantis Rising is dope, and it's big and it's public, but like Call Your Ancestors, that being like a saying that my mother says, and like it being this story about how DNA, and even like how like I'm working with like generations now, like how DNA is the code, the algorithm that we operate by, and like how the things that your ancestors did, like your mother's mother's mother, your father's father's father, what they did to survive so that you could be here, and like all the stories and how like even all the traumas that they encountered like create you and influence you, like into, it's in your blood. You can't do nothing. You can't carve it out. Nothing. All you can do is kind of like reprogram yourself so that maybe the next generation can think or live differently when you pass down your genetics. Like, I think that story about that is like hella human, even though it's black as hell. It's hella human.
And black being the mother of all colors.
Oh, for sure.
Man, I'm thankful. I'm glad. I'm appreciative. I'm happy. This is a good way to kick off our first guest being.
This was crazy.
Yo, I'm happy you showed up. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Is there any shows coming up? Anything you wanna tell the people? Anything we need to plug? Any mixtapes coming out?
Right. New albums.
There there's currently a piece on it's like 1185 MLK Drive on the west side, the Beltline, called All in One, that I did with Grace Kisa. It's beautiful. It's color shifting. You should see it in all times of the day. It's very meditative. It's very peaceful. Beautiful piece. Please go see it. Please take pictures by it. Please like just sit with it, vibe with it, be with it. And then I have, some other public art coming up that I can't really say a whole lot about, but it's on the way.
Okay, that's what we like to hear. So we got some major plays being made. All right, good.
Sure.
Well, I'm
Thank
happy
you
for
having
you.
me. I appreciate it. Like,
Thank
this is
you
dope.
for
I love this
for
space.
coming through.
Yeah,
I love
man.
this vibe.
Thank you for being
man.
dope as hell. We're gonna do it again for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As your pieces grow, as we keep seeing more shit around the city, as you keep creating, as you keep transforming yourself, we want to hear all about it. We want to be a part of that whole process. So, yeah, man, that's a good question. Episode 2, that was a great fucking kickoff, man.
Ellex.
So if you could,
Swavoni.
yeah, man, if you could choose a track, to end the day with, which one would you like? How to best match how you feel right now? What song would you?
That's a hard ass question.
I know.